join later. So thank you very much for all of you for joining us for this webinar. So you may know that we did it already yesterday. So this is a repetition for people with different, that were not able to join yesterday. And also because of the time difference. So we are very happy to have you all in this webinar. So we can use, you can use both the Q&A for question if you want to have answered also by writing, or if you want to ask a question, you just raise your hand and we will put you in the panelist section to talk. So we will have first a presentation by our colleague Mariangela Bagnardi, and then almost all the time of the webinar will be dedicated to your questions and the discussion with you. So we hope that you will also enjoy this part. So just as an introduction about this paper, so this paper is an initiative from both staff representing bodies in FAO, but with UGSS and AP-in-FAO decided to create a working group on the topic to be able to look at the topic with data and evidence. So data from other UN agencies, but not only, also other institutions, about what are the policies on teleworking. And also, we wanted also to have qualitative data about what is the experience from staff in FAO, and how we could have all this this feedback reflected by writing, no? Because it's better to have everything written. So we managed to produce this paper, which is quite detailed and with a lot of information. So we thought it will be better if we can present it and also have a discussion about the paper. So we are really thankful for the working group who did a great job. And so Mariangela, Susan, do you want to also say something from UGSS? Okay, so we will go directly to the presentation of the paper, and Mariangela kindly agreed to present, to make the presentation.
Good morning, colleagues. I am presenting this paper on behalf of the working group of which I was part. Just quickly, I am now the AP representative for NFO. For the forestry division. In my previous life, I was also conducting lots of project cycle trainings in HQ and in the field, so we may know each other with the love of the participants. I'm going to now share my screen. And just attempting to put that in full presentation mode so that we don't see. Okay. I apologize, I don't have two screens at the moment, so this is
it's good.
the best I can do. Thank you very much. Okay, so basically, I will keep the presentation short because we want to leave time for your questions. But there are basically three key findings from the staff representative bodies, and basically the findings are that FAO has an unusually stringent teleworking policy, and that FAO's current policy, which, as you know, is covering just until the period of July, is at odds with the employees' wishes, well-being, and feedback. And we also know from the experience we have gained that telework could be advantages to FAO and its employees. We have, in order to prepare this paper as a working group, analyzed the trends in the UN system and other international organizations. Okay, and we know that at the moment, FAO is, again, having a very stringent policy. Let's take a look a little bit more closely at teleworking trends in the duty station and outside of the duty station. So on the left side of the screen, you'll be seeing the trends, some summary of the trends for teleworking in the duty station. And you can see Some organizations even have 4 or more days, and most organizations at the moment have an allowance of 3 days per week, while FAO is basically having only 2 days. If you look at the right side of the screen, you're looking at teleworking outside of the duty station in terms of days per year, research as of March 2023. And here you can see the difference between FAO and the other UN agencies is even more evident, where there are some entities, some UN entities, including some in the UN Secretariat, that have up to 180 days every year of allowance of teleworking outside of duty station. And a lot of other agencies up to 90 days, some agencies up to 60 days, and FAO basically being the only one with an allowance of 15 days. We also have found out that the current policy is not meeting the feedback that has been received from FAO employees. A lot of feedback and data exist. There was a survey in 2022 and 2020 by the AP. There was a survey done by CSH also in December 2020. We have collected also in the preparation of the paper recent feedback from both the AP and UGSS members and other colleagues in writing, and there was a lot of discussion on the have your say section in the FAO intranet. And what we know is teleworking is important to the morale of employees. It is considered an essential allowance, the one outside of duty station, because it allows colleagues, to be closer to their families, especially those that are having their families far away from them. The option to telework 3 or more days at duty station, the preferred option by employees, and staff have shown really that they can keep up producing results when teleworking. And in fact, the productivity has even increased with teleworking. It can be considered a real advantage for FAO and its employees. We know that, as I was saying, it increases productivity, it increases employee engagement and morale, it improves the quality of work, it allows for focus on results, it enhances business continuity, it is allowing FAO to attract and retain talent and talented employees. It improves workspace diversity, inclusion, and gender equality, and reduces costs. We all know, we all have, for example, had times where, for example, we had to produce a paper or a document and we wanted to concentrate on that paper working from home. We know that we can do that. We also know that most of the meetings and teleconferences we're having right now, it is with colleagues from decentralized offices. So we are working using Teams and Zoom. In any case, even when we are in the office, we know that we can have very efficient meetings, even when we're teleworking. There's a lot of benefits to employees. The employee satisfaction increases. The stress is reduced. We can reconciliate work and family life and have increased focus. And most of all, there are benefits to the environment and the community. As you know, when we're teleworking, we're not using cars or public transport to go to work, and there is an important reduction in greenhouse gas emissions and pollution, and opportunities for enhanced environmental sustainability. Basically, the staff representative bodies, the AP and the UGSS, have formulated joint recommendations for better teleworking and for a better teleworking policy and a better FAO. First of all, the current teleworking policy still makes heavy reference to COVID, and basically what we have right now, it's COVID guidelines. We would like to have a full policy on telework with increased flexibility, and then in line with the guiding principles identified by the UN system model. First of all, we would like to have a policy that clearly organizes and presents written guidelines and rules. We would like a policy that is well written and reduces misinterpretation and application. And we would like this policy to support efforts to change FAO culture and build up mutual trust among staff and managers. okay, for the teleworking modality and duration, okay? What we're asking is realign FAO with UN system averages for teleworking. We would like to have at least 3 days per week in the duty station, which is the most common amount found by the study that was made by the working group, and at least 90 days per year for allowance of teleworking outside of duty session. We have seen that some agencies have up to 180 days actually. Okay, for the teleworking approval, it's simple, efficient, and transparent. Okay, so approval should be with the direct supervisor. The direct supervisor knows exactly what are the needs that are working with him or her. Okay, so this places responsibility for managing teleworking at the same level as the responsibility for establishing the work plans and managing results. And then if requests are declined, this should be explained in writing. Okay, so there should be transparency and facilitating employee understanding of the relationship between telework and delivering results. I think I'm done with the presentation. Thank you very much. And please do ask your questions in the Q&A or raise your hand, and please do join the AP and the UGSS. Just a small note on my side, I joined the AP, I would say in the end, rather recently. I've been in FAO since 2007. I joined the AP right before the pandemic in 2020, and it has made a huge difference in my life in FAO. I have found really trusted colleagues that I can talk to. It has really changed, my life in FAO. So do join the AP.
Thank you very much, Mariangela, and thank you for the very good presentation. So I think that Watsi is here now to moderate the discussion. Watsi, are you here?
Yes, I finally got in.
Ooh, your sound is terrible.
Okay, keep moderating. I think there's a problem with my Zoom.
Okay, yeah. I think it's not working, so I will try to moderate the discussion. So let's see if we have question on the chat, on the Q&A. So the first question for Peter is, how is it justified that various organizations of the UN can differ so much in exercising their internal rules regulation by differing between 15 and 180 days in case of teleworking? This is a very good question, but I do not have the answer actually. Why FAO is so conservative in this regard, it's still difficult for us to understand. We heard a lot senior management and even the DG saying that we did a great job during the pandemic. We work more, that FAO managed to deal with teleworking and digital world, etc. And then now that the pandemic is over, they want to come back to what was before. It's a reason why we did this paper to show that we are now in a different world, and that we need to change also the way that FAO is working in the long term. So not a very explicit question. Mariangela, do you have a better answer for?
No, I just wanted to comment a bit on the conclusions and also the reflections of the working group in relation to the fact that there are differences between UN agencies and entities of the UN system. Now, obviously, the UN system is not a single block governed by, a single structure. There are different entities. There's a secretariat, there's the group of the funds and programs, the specialized agencies that have independent governing bodies. So this would not be the first example in which we see the UN system as the system not entirely being aligned on policies. So it is rather common to find differences. What is striking, however, is that the rest of the system is amongst differences is trying to align itself, while at the moment FAO is not really aligned, and that's why the working group concluded it would be good for FAO to align. There is basically, as you know, a risk that FAO will start losing the best talents and the best employees because they might decide start working for other UN agencies because they've got better policies. So I think as FAO we have a duty to realign in some way, even if we are an independent organization. This was a bit the reflection in the group. Over to you, Florence.
Thank you. Michael, do you want to intervene? No, okay. Yeah, let's go back to the question because I see that there are a lot of questions now. So we presented the report to management. So we just get an acknowledgement and a short discussion. They will go back to the high management to discuss. The idea is to revise the existing flexible working arrangement policy that was already, let's say, I will not say in place, but that was written in the manual section, but was not really applied, and to give much more flexibility and with what we expect to this policy that will be, let's say, the long-term policy in FAO. But we have no idea how it will go and if management is hearing us. So whatever feedback you have, and also to let your voice hear to management is welcome to help us to influence the decision. Then there is a question about teleworking outside of duty station. So this actually in all the UN agencies, there was this discussion about if it will affect the post-adjustment for professionals. But at the end, as a number of days, but in FAO, it will surely not do so because the number of days is so small. But even for agencies that have a bigger number of days, it doesn't affect the post-adjustment. So the duty station is still considered as the main place where the staff is working, and the post-adjustment is staying with the duty station. But it's important that all the days of teleworking outside of duty station are recorded in the system, in particular with the security clearance system to be able to get the insurance coverage. No, but it doesn't have any impact on the number of days. The Juanco is the number of days of teleworking outside the duty station refer to working days, not calendar days. So it's only working days, like for leave. If also people want to, I do not see if there are some hands raised. If you want also to do your question on live, just let us know, and we will let you enter in the room. Jessica, have is any plan for this that will happen with this position paper? How it will be presented to FAO senior management? And is there an established framework for obtaining a response from management? So we already presented the paper to management. We hope they're already discussing it, and we hope that they will come back to us with the revised policy soon. At least the idea is to have it, if possible, before the end of the pilot policy, which is ending end of July. There is a question from Ramani about the terms of cost
Florence,
saving. Yes.
you have a raised hand.
Okay, so maybe I just do this question, and then we in the meanwhile you could let the person come in the panelist. There is a question about cost saving. Do you have any actual number? Actually, this is a topic that we were interested to know more, and WATSI in particular is very interested in this topic. We do not have any in the literature. We couldn't find any study done, but if you have any idea how to go with this, we will be interested to take on. Let's see if your sound is better now.
I can't do it.
Oh, no. We cannot hear you.
Watsi, try turning off your video.
Maybe you can answer in the type answer question. In the meanwhile, maybe we will take the question from Melucci. Sorry, I do not have your name, only surname. Please go ahead.
Hi, I hope you can hear me, Chiara Melucci. Familiar. I have a question on this, on the policy, and forgive me if I missed anything you said, and I haven't read the paper yet. But I mean, would it be possible to ask management to have a policy that at least would last for a year? Because I find that first, it's ridiculous that after 3 years of COVID, we are still piloting. It was, I would say, almost disgraceful what they did in February with 2 months. And then a week before, they first cut the days, but then they tell people that the policy is continued. They want us to tell them if we telework after 31st of July, because the offices have to organize their work. Well, we also have to organize our work and our lives. So I find that, you know, the minimum would be to at least have a year policy and not call it a pilot, because again, 3 years of COVID, we are not piloting anymore, and well, COVID doesn't even exist anymore. So I don't know whether there's any discussion about that, but it would be just fair and respectful to everybody working in FAO not to go in this piecemeal approach to teleworking and any other related decision regarding working time. Thanks.
Thank you, Clara, I think it was, yeah. Mariangela, please.
Yes, no, thanks. Basically, this was one of the key recommendations of the paper. We want a policy that it's the final policy on flexible working arrangements. And yes, ideally, even more than a year, we would like to have a definitive policy, because we don't want to have uncertainty. We would like to have a definitive policies on new ways of working. I think enough data has been gathered thus far, and there are enough examples out there on how this policy could be built. So we're actually looking for a final policy that should last for good, not for a year. Of course, then if there is another pandemic, or hopefully not, but if there are other exceptional circumstances, the policy should cater for that. As Michael was explaining in the webinar yesterday, there is a difference between what happened during the pandemic. What happened during the pandemic is not flexible working arrangements, it is alternative working arrangements, and it is also what would happen, for example, in a duty session where there is a crisis or a security issue and you cannot go to the office. Those are alternate working arrangements. It's when you cannot go to the office and you should stay home for a specific cause, and that should be included in the policy as well. But we would like the policy to be there for good. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mariangela. There is also a question related with end of July. Now, first, as we know, the pilot is ending. The actual pilot is ending on 31st July, and we do not exactly know what will happen after that date. You may have seen a message from HR saying that if you request teleworking outside of duty station before that date, you can take the days after that date, but as we said, it's not really practical to plan either for staff and for managers. So we hope that the formal policy will be ready before that date, but we have no. We don't know if this will happen. In case there is no new pilot or the pilot is not extended, we will go back to the actual current flexible working arrangement policy, which is not explicit at all, neither for teleworking inside or outside duty station. So we hope that we will not go back to this, but we will see. If the policy is not in line with what we want, we recommend, yes, we could take action, and especially industrial action, like or any of these actions that could put pressure on management. You already saw the campaign that we had with posters. So if you need to have posters, please do not hesitate to pass to our offices and to get the posters and to put on your doors. It's very important to show everybody, show also in the field, in country offices. But then you cannot get the one from us, but you just print them. We are available on our website. So please do not hesitate to ask us if you want the posters, and we will let you know what will happen depending of the decision on what management will take about the new policy we expect. So there are several questions about this. No, I don't think that management will like to go back to the previous policies, but the time frame is not really conducive to having a lot of changes, because you know that there are elections of the DG in July, so yeah, it's not a very good period for that, but we do not think they will go back to the previous COVID time. But we don't know what they will propose, so we have to be aware and to keep track. Also, any colleagues could help me to answer the question. A comment regarding benefits to the environment in terms of reduced travel. I would say where there is a small even commute or used to commute pre-COVID between countries due to family reasons, so the reduction to a carbon footprint would be huge when not having to do weekly commute. Yeah, actually this about the impact on environment, it's one of the arguments that we put on the paper. We look at other agencies or other institutions that were looking at this issue, and we think it's also important to mention because FAO has some target also to reduce green gas emissions. So it's important that we are also aware of this when talking about the advantages of teleworking. What is the status of staff management relations? And the impression from the outside that there is very little negotiation and a lot of information sharing. This is not true, I'm sorry. There is a lot of negotiation happening, but we cannot communicate about ongoing negotiations, as you can imagine. So we are communicating about what we can say. For example, we are communicating about this paper that we took the initiative to prepare, and so we are presenting it. But we cannot say all the negotiations that are happening. But we are in negotiation. Actually, I have to say that the environment for us as SRB is much better than before, and it's increased a lot. So we have good relationship in the different instances that we have with management, but as all negotiation it's a long process, and so we are working on it. What is the driving reason for such stringent rules in FAO? It's mainly a trust issue. We think so. In the paper, we went through all the reason given by FAO management why they want to reduce the number of days. So we think it's they are not really taking into consideration the reality, and in particular the case of of the field, we know that some small offices, it's more difficult for them to not be in the office, and it could be also for work issues. But when there is the staff request teleworking, it should be allowed. No? And what we are requesting is not that everybody who will be able to teleworking every day, but there is flexibility. So when you have to be in the office, everybody should be in the office. We understand this, but when people want to telework for personal issue, whatever, they should be also able to do so. So this is our approach, flexibility, and so it's the reason why we are insisting on this. No, Maria-Angela, please.
Yes, thanks. No, Florence, just to add a couple of notes on this question, what is the driving reasons for stringent rules in FAO? Okay, we also have considered within the working group that there has been some pressure also coming from member countries. And please note that the working group has considered that. And in fact, what the paper is requesting is flexibility, while also mindful of what the member countries, may wish to see. So we are aware FAO is owned by the member countries, and we have considered that concern. The other point is just building on what Florence was saying, is that in the paper, what is being proposed, it is to keep the approval of the teleworking at the level of the supervisor. So if there is a specific week in which, for example, there is an important meeting in the office and you have to be in the office every day, your supervisor should communicate that to you. And in that week, there would be a written exchange where you exchange with your supervisor, and you, in that week, for example, you won't telework at all. No. So the idea is that this flexibility would allow also for a clear discussion between the supervisor who's approving your work plan and your own plans. And if in a normal, let's say in a normal week, you could telework a few days, if there could be periods in which your supervisor is saying, okay, we have an event, please, make sure you show up in the office. So this is what the flexibility is all about. It should cater for the specific cases. Over.
Yes, thank you very much, Maria-Angela. I see you. And Esther, please go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, good, loud and clear. Thank you. First of all, I'd want to put it on record, so you have recorded. Thank you very, very much, not only on my behalf, but also on the behalf of a lot of colleagues who either cannot attend this webinar or are concerned, shall I put it in the mild way, to attend this webinar, because for various obvious reasons, for all the hard work that both staff representative bodies are doing. We really, really appreciate this. And the posters are great. And I've been trying to put everybody have one on the door. But anyway, that's one thing. But second, I mean, one little thing, and I think I forwarded this email to UGSS yesterday. I see that we've been requested to work from home in July because of this high-level conference or something's going on, so most of us can't come in. Great. Now, they might want us to do this again in the future. There'll be occasions, surely, in the future when most of us will have to be working from home. Doesn't it make sense then that we should be match fit to work from home? Just up to scratch. What I'm saying is, if you think that we have to be capable of working from home at a drop of a hat because of some reason, because also let's not forget, we could have another pandemic coming. This is the first one. We've been warned that, not to be complacent, that these things could happen again. I think it's obvious that we should be encouraged to work from home or whatever, and so that we're used to it. We're not dropped in landed in trouble that then we don't have the equipment that's not working or whatever. I don't know whether I've conveyed the idea. It's just that it feels a bit surreal that, yeah, I think I made my point. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Esther. Do you want to answer? Let's see if your sound is working now.
Is my sound working now?
Yes.
Oh, fantastic. I don't know what the planets are doing today, but clearly I needed to arrive at this point. I think, Esther, what's important is that we showed that we can work from several locations, and that we are an organization that is able to respond to a pandemic, and you know, the systems were upgraded, and we got there. So we are saying, if the organization, if management needs staff to work from home at a given time, it is possible, and thus management should be able to understand flexibility, because we should have inbuilt flexibility. So what we're requesting is that flexibility become something that's enshrined in our administrative guidelines, so that each time a pandemic happens, it's not something that we need to sort of, you know, operationalize and try and muddle through again. We've done it. We've got it. We set, you know, we were able to work through COVID, and we increased productivity. And so this has been proven. There's a whole lot of qualitative data showing that so many improvements, including the environmental, et cetera, et cetera. So what we're saying as SRBs and as your representatives, we're saying, why can't management put up a policy that works for everyone? Why can't it be a win-win for everyone? So this is what we're asking for: flexibility in terms of our working arrangements, in terms of taking care of several issues. Maybe commuting distance may be one, people with elderly parents, people with children, et cetera, et cetera. So, and more importantly, people who live in different locations. So we have a lot of colleagues in various locations who can't be with their families, who have to send, you know, their children to school elsewhere, et cetera. So we're saying, why can't we be flexible? We proved we could do it. We proved we could work from anywhere in this world, and we upgraded systems. We invested. We have a lot of sunk costs in getting to this point. So we are having this discussion so that we can discuss the fact that, yes, we have proof we can do it. We have proof that even in teleworking, we are available and we are working. So why can they not trust us enough to keep doing that? Because if they can trust us to work from home during an important meeting when we can't come in, why can't they trust us to work from home 2 or 3 days a week? Over.
Thank you very much, Watsi, and thank you, Esther, for the question. I also see a question related with consultant, and this paper is not only for staff. We have to clarify, no, because the policy applies for everyone, also for consultant, except the ones that are home-based. So our paper is addressing any kind of personnel in FAO. It's not only staff, it's also for consultant. And actually, the actual policy is also applied for consultant. So also what we are fighting for is also the same for consultant. There is a question about medical from Diana about when you have symptoms and if you can come to the office. So it seems that now the policy is much more open, and even if you are symptomatic, you can come to the office with a mask. This is good to know, but I think also here flexibility should be in place. No, it also depends of your supervisor. So from our side, there is it's not an obligation now to stay at home when you are symptomatic, even if I still see the posters there. But if you are really sick, you should take uncertified sick leave and not work. So it's not because you are sick that you are obliged to telework. No, neither. So yeah, it's true that there is a difficult balance to find here. Maybe Michael could help with this question.
No, I think there's an important distinction to understand here, is that we can't mix teleworking with medical issues, right? Teleworking is the option to be able to work from home without any reason, or to work outside of the office, be more specific. Teleworking is the option to work outside of the office of your duty station with no specified reason, right? Which is you're working, but you have no specified reason. It's not linked to medical matters, and we can't conflagrate the two. They're a different set of policies, and there's a very different decision tree. And I understand why people would want to suggest that if you were infectious, possibly, but not actually sick, that you might want to telework. But from an organizational perspective, if we try and put these two things together, we're going to end up in a really difficult situation, because medical decisions are taken by the medical unit, not by your supervisor. This is the most basic thing, right? Teleworking is a decision, as the SRVs have argued for, by your immediate supervisor. Okay, so I hope that's clear. Thanks.
Thank you, Michael. Let's go down the question. So for the moment, we do not have the new policy, and we don't know when it will be released. It's not in our hands. We hope that we will be able to see the draft soon, but we really don't know. There is also a question from Beate about staff members living outside of Rome and commuting within commuting distance, why they should have to go further away abroad to work outside of duty station. I do not understand really the question, Beate. Maybe you would like to ask a question in person? Oh, Beate, yes, please.
Okay, now I can see that you unmuted me. Yes, hello.
Hello.
We have a number of colleagues that live in commuting distance, so up to 100 kilometers from headquarters, from the office. So in order to work out of duty station, I mean, they would have to move either abroad or somewhere else in Italy. But they may wish to work there 15 days or hopefully in future more days from home and not come to the office the 2 or 3 days per week as whatever it will be in the future. So why do you need to leave your home basically to telework from abroad? That's my question. Is it clear?
Yes, actually, we had this question also yesterday about if you request teleworking outside of duty station, can you stay in duty station? It's something like
exactly.
that. No?
Exactly.
Yeah. I do not remember what did we reply to that one. Anyone remember? But I think
yeah.
Yes, Susan. Yeah.
I think well, Michael quite rightly pointed out that if you need to fill in the UNDSS if you're traveling for insurance reasons. But I think someone else also mentioned that in their division, they've just been told that it was more about not coming to the office for 15 days. So they didn't really care where you were. But I mean, it's kind of a grey area. And there's
exactly.
no, I think when you request, I think it was said when you request the working outside the duty station, you don't actually get us the proof that you've gone outside of the duty station.
Thank you, Susan. Yeah, Watsi, you want to reply on this?
Yes, I think this is the very reason why we want a clear policy. This is the reason we're asking for very clear guidelines, because if somebody wants to telework from home base, or if somebody wants to telework out of duty station, we do want clear guidelines. So there are, I mean, people can telework for exceptional circumstances as it is. You can ask for teleworking for reasons that are, you know, that are important. For example, yesterday we had of somebody who had broken a leg and could still work. Had an operation. They could still work. They were certified capable of working, but could not commute to the office. So they were able to ask for teleworking from home because of that specific circumstance. So, you can still request these circumstances, but we are saying, let's have a policy that's clear. Let's have a policy that does not give room for misinterpretation, because if one director is saying, oh, it doesn't matter where you telework from, you can take the 15 days, and another director saying, no, you have to be traveling out of duty station to telework, it causes confusion. And so this is all we're asking for. Let's have a policy that is fair, that takes into account our new reality after COVID, and as someone mentioned, any other pandemics, and also is a win-win for everybody. So I think that's the important situation that we need. The administrative guidelines need to be clear and not subject to interpretation, and clear for everybody in every duty station. So people are not asking us, should it be HQ or should it be the field? This is a policy that applies to anyone who is a staff member in FAO. Over.
Okay, thank you, Francisco. And then we will move to
Thank you. I wanted to say you can declare that you are working outside duty station and declare that you are working from the same country. You are working outside duty station in Italy without indicating exactly where in Italy and without indicating the number of kilometers.
Okay, so also remember, when you are requesting teleworking outside of duty station, you should also do a security clearance process to be sure that you are insured during the period that you are teleworking. So it's important also to do that. But let's see that this teleworking option outside of duty station is, let's say, an additional allowance that was not there before. So it is not neither a benefit that is like obligatory, mandatory, like for example, annual leave, you have a certain number of days and you are allowed to that. In this case, it's a little more, let's say, flexible. Let's see, we have 3 questions. Is it Clara Milucci?
Yeah, hi, sorry. I mean, it's very much connected to what was being discussed right now to an extent. I'm not trying to be provocative, but just, kind of reflecting, because I understand that this policy should be for everybody, whether you're based in Rome or the field. But I mean, having worked in the field, if you obtain 90 days of telework, it's about 4.5 months, and if you're working with a country office and with a country government, 4.5 months is quite a lot to be working remotely. I think the very point to be in a country is that you're close to your counterparts. So I'm just wondering whether there's not going to be issues that are going to be raised by offices in the field. Regional offices is slightly different, but then country offices, if it's up to your supervisor then to decide whether you telework outside of the duty station or not. I wonder if, we're going to have a bit of a situation where we're not going to be all equals because, field staff might be just told, well, sorry, you can't work so long outside of the duty station, which to me, frankly, I mean, it makes sense, no, from a work perspective, but then, I don't know how, if you ever reflected of, there's some discussion to be held on this, so to be, to see how also to deal with this case. Over.
Yes, thank you. Watsi and Mariangela.
I'm going to ask Mariangela to answer it first, and then I'll make my comment, because she answered this before, and then I'll make my comment, if that's okay.
Yes, please, Mariangela.
Thank you. No, just to say, of course, what Chiara, I think is your name, sorry, has been mentioning. We discussed this at length, when we were producing the paper in the working group, like what should be sort of the approval process. Obviously, the underlying principle, and this is why the recommendation is still for approval for remaining with supervisor, is that teleworking of any kind, either at duty station or outside of duty station, should be, first of all, compatible with the functions that you are serving for the organization. So that was the underlying principle. And yes, in a way, I do understand we're not going to be all equals the way you described that, but the underlying principle was that it has to be compatible with your functions in the first place. So results remain the first thing you have to deliver, and all of the flexibility is there to make sure you deliver those results. that was the underlying principle, Chiara. And again, there's many ways one could approach this, but we have approached this under this angle. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Mariangela. Watsi, you want to comment on that?
I'm just going to compliment. I saw in the chats that somebody had not realized that they had to fill out a UNDSS security clearance, and that really worried me, because it's very important that if you're traveling, you fill it out, because it's important for your insurance. So if you're going to be teleworking out of duty station, and you need to fill out your security clearance, because it's really important for your insurance. If you are found to be outside of the bounds of the insurance claim, your family may not be compensated, or yourself, if you're disabled. So please fill out the UNDSS. That really worried me. So I saw that in the comments, and it tied in with all this in and outside duty station. So please be careful. Florence, I think we need to go back to the questions and answers because we have a few minutes left. But I was also going to say to everyone, we are going to answer all the questions, even if we can't get to them today. And there's another recording, so you can watch both recordings, where a lot of the questions that may have appeared today are answered in the other session we had yesterday. Over to you, Florence.
Okay, thank you very much. We still have one question from Elena, and I just want to add to the discussion previously that teleworking is not an entitlement. It's a load, it's an allowance, so it's not something that you can, managers are obliged to give you, and this reply a little about the different circumstances. We understand that in country offices, the situation is not the same, and maybe they will not be able to take as much as teleworking, but in other situations because of the kind of work people are doing. But at least there is this possibility. It's all what we are saying. We don't want to oblige it and to become an entitlement. And actually, in all UN agencies, they are not considering teleworking as an entitlement. Yes, Elena, and I think we will be able to close there. Elena, please.
Oh, thanks. Okay, so first of all, I'd just like to say thank you for the report. It was really interesting to read and a really good collaborative work. So my compliments to the staff representative bodies, especially for the data that backs it up. I see a lot of new faces, and I think they've brought in fresh ideas perhaps, and that's always good, as well as the people that we know each other very well, so I won't get into that. I have two very short questions and then a consideration regarding the teleworking policy decided by the supervisor. In order not to make Class A and Class B citizens, the policy overall should be encouraging of teleworking. This is a key issue, of course. It's up to the supervisor, but the overarching policy should be written in a way where it's clearly said that this is promoted by the organization, that this is in line with, work-life balance, regardless of family, because there's loads of people who don't have family, and that's it really should be for whatever reason you decide to telework. So I wanted to make this point about the supervisors, because not only consultants, but also GS will have problems having these approved. And the old saying regarding your essential presence, we've demonstrated actually throughout the 3 years that this is reduced to a very small amount of situations. That's my first. The other thing is that we are in a unique opportunity where the interests of staff, consultants, and employees in general coincide, and this never happens. This never happens because we have separate manual sections. I mean, we have separate rules and regulations. And so I think it's really important for the staff representative bodies to ensure that they cover the other employees in this and strive to have something that is equal for everyone, so that we can have everyone on board, and if we do need to take action on something, we'll have everyone participating in this action. And the last question is to Florence. I was asking regarding the staff management relations, and I'm not sure I understood why why you're not at freedom to share some of the consultation processes. It's not clear to me, because, you know, it's just not clear to me. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much, Elena. No, we totally agree with you about that teleworking should be encouraged by the organization, and we hope that this will happen. It's also part of the mental health strategy that FAO is saying that they will try to implement and to improve, because for the moment it's still at the beginning. So it's all a mindset, and we also hope, for example, with the exercise that is being done about the follow-up to the employee satisfaction survey, but it will also be part of this, no? Because at least in our division, a work-life balance was one of the priority, and it's very related to teleworking. So all the things are linked, and it's true that it's also a question of trust and environment, working environment, good working environment in FAO. So relationship with supervisor should be also improved. It's not all the same in all the unit and all locations, and we know that, and we are really trying to improve this and to support staff. In relation with the negotiation process, what I was saying is that we are allowed to say there is a negotiation, but we are not, let's say, it's better not to detail what are the different discussions ongoing. No, it's just that, no. On negotiation, you can say there is a negotiation, and we are saying there is a negotiation ongoing on the teleworking policy, but we are not able to give you all the details about where we are, how it will go, etc., because this is part of the negotiations. It's all we are saying. So there is nothing secret there or hiding behind. It's just that.
I should say it's to do with managing expectations as well. You don't know the final outcome, from, you know, you can't have people believing it's going to go one way or the other, and, you know, making arrangements, and then again it's something else. So it's just doesn't make any sense to say anything until we know something concrete. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. So there are still some questions in the chat, but maybe we will not able to answer. I see a question about an indemnity with working from home. Actually, if an accident happens at home, I guess we are not covered. Actually, this is a maybe good question. I don't know if we answered it before. Maybe we could investigate about this, because there was an old question about giving some compensation, for example, for the electricity, the internet, the chair, or whatever that we were buying at home. But this, for example, it's a no-go for the moment. About the insurance, I imagine when you are teleworking and actually.
Plus,
yeah.
Yes, you are covered by insurance when you are working from home. As long as your teleworking is approved, if something happens to you when you're working, it's a service incurred injury, and there is insurance for that.
Okay, thank you very much, Michael. Sorry for that. Okay, so I don't know, Watsi, do you want to close the meeting?
Sure, Florence. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. We did have this same discussion yesterday. There are a number of questions that were answered in yesterday's recording. that have appeared here as well. So please watch both recordings. We will be sending out questions and answer, a question and answer form to every single question and every single comment that was made that needs to be addressed. So we will send this out after this recording. So we will answer every single question. Please do not hesitate. We do want to encourage anyone who is not a member of either body, UGSS or AP, if you're a staff member, please join. We really need the numbers to convince the management that this is just not something we get out of our heads. These are actually staff concerns. So please join. We email any one of us, depending on your position, and then let us know. You're very welcome to come. The next thing I wanted to address is, what do we do next? We are the faces in front. We do not do anything without the members' consent. So any next step needs to be something that we all agree on. So at the moment, our next step is we are waiting for management's response to our position paper. We have asked management for a clear policy before the 31st of July, when this one expires. We have requested that. So these are our immediate. Any other pressure points we need to put to place, anything else we need to do, we need suggestions from members. We need your input so that we can come up with a strategy. So we are here to serve. So please, we're here to do so. Please remember that we have held a number of other seminars for the professional staff. They are on our intranet. So please go and watch the videos. We have done one on the compensation package, post-adjustment. We have done one on pensions, and we have done one on social security and insurance, which is offered through FAO. So please, you can watch these. These two sessions will be on both of our web pages, so both UGSS and AP-in-FAO. And please share as widely as possible. Going to say is that I want to remind everybody that 60% of the responses we received were from the field. So the working group has incorporated responses of people in the field. This is not a headquarters, centric teleworking policy. This has taken into account all the staff members in every duty station, everywhere So thank you very much. Thank you for attending. I'm sorry about my internet issues. Clearly the moon is somewhere it's not supposed to be, or exactly where it's meant to be, and making me, crazy. But thank you so much for attending. We will be having more seminars, so please keep watching and please keep sharing, share widely, and please get members. We need members. If there's one thing you take away from this, please get us members. And to the consultants, we are also working to find a solution for you. So it's not that we don't know that there's issues, it's just that we're trying to find the best solution. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great day and have a great weekend.
Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you very much for attending.
Bye, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Deborah, you can shut down.
Okay, fine. Oh.